Don't you worry, Joe Rogan. I got you, bro.
Supreme victory!
What's going on, everyone? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. It is a Saturday. Don't normally put videos out on Saturday, but this is really interesting what's happening with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan came out on Instagram and apologized about a clip of him dropping N-bombs, right? It's been circulating, and then he apologized about it. Now, there's a lot of people that are freaking out, and they're saying this just proves that has nothing to do with misinformation and stuff, and I disagree. I think some stuff started, and then now people are going hard in the paint, and it's ridiculous. It's just kind of like, obviously, when's the best time to attack an animal? When it's wounded. Joe Rogan right now is essentially like a wounded animal. And why? Because that clip that is circulating around has made the rounds. It's been in the ether. Remember when all the LA comics were being accused of all this stuff in the Me Too movement? That clip circulated around that time too. And since Joe Rogan did not respond to it before, I didn't think he was going to respond to it this time either. But Joe Rogan is like a wounded animal right now, so he's feeling vulnerable, and he did apologize for it. So let's check out that first. We don't need to listen to his response or anything like that, but you know, he just addresses it. 5, almost 6 minute video, and he talks about the clips, they're taken out of context, but even within context, that it still shouldn't be okay for him. He feels like it shouldn't be okay for him. He's thought about it. And the weird thing is, even if Joe feels this way, obviously he has every right to feel whatever way he wants to feel, even if I feel like it was unnecessary. And that's kind of the point with me. Even if you feel that certain way, I don't feel like it need to be addressed. He's not dropping them anymore. Some of the clips are like over a decade old, and some of them are just sprinkled throughout, and he's just using within context. It's not derogatory. He's not being evil or mean or racist towards somebody. And I think if you guys have watched my channel for a long time, you would know my stance, where like when PewDiePie did it, even when PewDiePie did use it in a derogatory way, he used it as the gamer word. If you've ever played Xbox, if you've ever been in a Call of Duty lobby, you know how these people are. If these milquetoast people, at the end of the day, that are just the most weakling, if you showed up to them in the streets and you just beat the fuck out of them, right? These people aren't actually throwing these words out in public. They're not stepping to people and being mean. They're just, I'm behind my keyboard, I'm behind my controller, and I'm gonna say the most offensive things that I can think of. And that's what like PewDiePie did, obviously, because that's what, that's why a lot of people call it the gamer word, right? It's been a meme for a while. And Joe Rogan wasn't even using it like that. He was just, oh, this and this and this and this and that, right? Like, I want to show you guys something that, before I get into what this has led to, I want to skip over to a video that I watched years ago. One of my favorite channels is Biographics, and I watched a video on Frederick Douglass. And this is something that I'm so immature. But like, I feel like there are times that you obviously can say it within context, because it needs to be. You can't just dance around it, or just like, you just need to say N-word. I'm like, implied and saying it, isn't it the same thing at the end of the day? It's so dumb. So look at like,
paid to white people. When I go to church, I'm met by no upturned nose and scornful lip to tell me we don't allow niggers in here. His supporters.
So he just said it. He just said the gamer word, I feel like no one had a problem with this. And my immature ass was laughing just hearing him say it so gracefully. Like, if you just go back, you go back and let's hear it again.
Nose and scornful lip to tell me we don't allow niggers in here. His supporters.
And here. So graceful. And so I'm laughing, right? I'm like, ooh. And I'm scrolling down the comments to see if anybody else is laughing, and literally it's just everybody talking about how great Frederick Douglass is. And I'm like, damn, I'm way too immature. I am a grown-ass man, and I'm laughing at this dude just gracefully dropping a hard R. And but my whole point is there any problem with this? And Joe Rogan using it within context and saying certain things and talking about, whatever, and not just being a dickhead to be the sake of a dick. He's not just being a dick for the sake of it, right? There was one joke that he addressed in his video about saying,
it's a video that's made.
Stop! I hate this autoplay thing. I don't know if I can turn it off. But anyway, he talks about like going to see Planet of the Apes in a black neighborhood, and then the joke, pretty much, no matter how you spin it, it just came off racist. But the thing is, at the end of the day, if you like lowbrow and racist humor, Joe Rogan said he didn't mean it for it to come off that way, but I don't see any way it cannot. He see how a lot of people can be offended, and I see how a lot of people can be offended by it. I wasn't. I still thought it was funny, and sometimes that's kind of the point, right? But I think it's pretty obvious. I think it's pretty obvious that Joe Rogan is not a racist person. I mean, look, I think that's to get into the argument is just wasting time. But let's look at some of the fallout from what's been happening with Joe Rogan coming out and apologizing about this. By the way, this is the clip. I'm not gonna play, I don't need to get this video any further demonetized just by even playing the Frederick Douglass clip. But Joe is just, just going through it and just compilations. It's funny that people even putting this shit together. But yeah, this has been circulating around for quite some time. Like I said, when the LA comics were all getting Me Too'd, this came out. Joe didn't say anything, so I thought he just wasn't going to. I really am shocked. I'm shocked. And then right now, Planet of the Apes is actually trending. So like I said, the people that are saying this isn't about the misinformation and stuff, I'm like, dude, this stuff has came out before, and Joe was fine. What's happening now is Joe actually coming out and addressing this stuff and feeling apologetic and stuff. Now people see him as a wounded animal, and they're going in for the kill. That is absolutely what's happening right now. And as far as the misinformation thing and addressing that, it's all well and good. He did his thing, whatever. Even if I had some issues with some of the stuff, this right here, I literally just didn't see it coming. And look, I said, I'm not going to tell him anything. I'm not going to be like, you shouldn't apologize if you don't feel like apologizing. If you feel like apologizing, go ahead and apologize. Even if, people feel it's warranted. People sometimes apologize for stuff and say, oh, I'm sorry, this and this and that. And I'm like, you have absolutely nothing to apologize for, but you don't chastise them for feeling apologetic. That's kind of a dick move.
Okay, if The Rock didn't run over Stone Cold, then who did? Who's going to step
Now,
forward?
Mick, if you need even further clarification, let The Rock tell you in Chinese.
Look at Chinese.
Ding bong ding dong, he's Stone Cold. Aye!
So now the other big story about this is what's happening is that The Rock, right? Because The Rock came out and supported Joe in his response to the whole Spotify situation. He was like, "Yeah, this is dope. Let's get on a podcast and chat." Which I really want to see. One of the top guests I've wanted to see is Dwayne The Rock Johnson be on the podcast, and Conor McGregor. It's kind of weird that Conor McGregor has not been on GRE. It literally makes no sense to me. That makes no sense to me. The most famous mixed martial artist in the world not being on a podcast where the commentator is in the same company. It just makes no sense to me. But shit happens. Hey, Bobby Lee hasn't been on GRE, and they've been friends for decades. Just shit happens, I guess. But so somebody came out and asked The Rock, this dickhead, I don't know who he is, but he's like, you're a hero to many people and using your platform to defend Joe Rogan, a guy that used and laughed about using the N-word dozens of times, is a terrible use of your power. Have you actually listened to this man's many racist statements about black people? And it's a weird thing to say, many racist statements. I'm like, how many? So he saw a compilation of the N-word being used, and he saw one joke that could be, taken as the expense of the black folks in the neighborhood, right? So that's kind of a stretch. And let's see. This is what The Rock says. It says, "Dear Don nigga, thank you so much for this. I hear you as well as everyone here, 100%. I was not aware of his N-word use prior to my comments, but now I've become educated to his complete narrative. Learning moment for me. Mahalo, brother, and have a great and productive weekend, DJ." So I feel like that's what he said, and now people are kind of really angry. I mean, this says The Rock literally just participated in the opening ceremony for the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. Whose side did you think he was on? That's hilarious. I like that. What is he? He's turning into John Cena. He's turning into John Sheena. Bing Shilling. 冰淇淋早上好中国现在我有冰淇淋我很喜欢冰淇淋 Now, one thing is happening that I absolutely despise, because, there's all these people that talk about they can't stand cancel culture and whatnot, but as soon as they see somebody else participating into it, they participate it in themselves. They do it themselves. They try to be like, oh, I'm just trying to show this person's a hypocrite, but they're participating in cancel culture. What they're doing is, this person went low, I'm gonna go lower. So as you see Tim Pool, right, quote tweeting this from 2011, this thing that The Rock said, "Shush, don't be angry, Miss Katie. It's not your fault you're turning tranny tricks to put yourself through nursing school. Shh." You know, and it's like, oh my God, The Rock is transphobic. You know, oh damn, The Rock is racist and transphobic. Like, obviously, Tim's being facetious, but it's just like, you are amplifying this. You are participating in cancel culture by having people find this, and you're like, I'm just trying to point out the irony. I'm like, no, you are participating in cancel culture. Case in point, The Rock, Joe Rogan is racist because he said the N-word in context. Also The Rock, ching chong, bing bong, ding dong. Here's another thing, like, so are people going to cancel the Young Turks and Cenk Uygur for their repeated use of the N-word like they're trying to do with Joe Rogan? This has gotten Biden level stupid. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those things where I feel like the best thing to do is just not the whataboutisms and trying to get everybody else canceled and stuff, because that's where this kind of behavior leads to. It's like, all right, so if we want everything to be fair, then let's take everyone's stuff down. Let's make everybody apologize. Or let's stop being a little stupid. Let's stop doing the whataboutisms. Let's stop participating in the cancel culture and just see if there's context to this stuff, which there is. And here's the truth about it. Not everybody's going to be comfortable even within context. Like this clip that I played earlier, some people, even within the context of just reading a quote from Frederick Douglass, some people will still be uncomfortable that this gentleman read that quote. I don't care about those people. Those people can suck my left nut. My left nut is a little bit bigger than my right. They can suck that one pretty good. I'm just saying, I don't care about those people. And most of you shouldn't either, because we know this argument is silly. We know the people that are doing this stuff, even though, like I said, Joe Rogan is wounded. And I understand why he's feeling apologetic, right? There's a crisis within him right now. Because, like I said, he didn't respond to that clip circulating around before. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. It also seems like it's there's some episodes from Spotify missing from the JRE, and some people think it may be connected with that. Maybe some inner turmoil within the Spotify company itself, because there's been some backlash and stuff, even when he first got on the platform and just what have you. I don't know what's going on with that, but in saying, like, some people are correct, though. Apologizing to some people does show weakness, even though it should be the opposite. We know that being a hard-headed dickhead is one of the most childish things you can do, but manning up, owning up to a mistake or something you feel is a mistake and apologizing is the strongest thing you can do. Admitting that you can be wrong, admitting that you can make mistakes is one of the strongest things you can do. Admitting that you're a flawed human being is strength. And as far as these spooky words, they're not these. This isn't life or death situations. This is stupid. This is dumb. But yeah, I just want to come out and say that because, you know, every time some controversy with the spooky N-word comes out, you know your boy has to say something. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your Saturdays, or if you're on the other side of the world, your Sunday. I'm sure it's Sunday already in some of the parts. All right, have a good one.